Welcome to PAATH History. Subscribe our YouTube channel, listen our podcast episodes in Anchor, Spotify and Google Podcast. Follow our official Facebook page, Twitter handle and Instagram. Like and comment. Today we are going to discuss about the Vedic literature. In Indian tradition, the Vedas have the status of Shruti, literally that which has been heard. They are thought to embody an eternal self-existent truth realized by the rishis or seers in a state of meditation or revealed to them by the gods. The category of smriti texts literally remembered include the Vedanga, Puranas, epics, Dharmashastra and Nitishastras. The word Veda comes from the root Ved, literally to know, and means knowledge. There are 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajur Veda and Atarva Veda. The Rig Veda contains the world's oldest surviving poetry, some of it of extraordinary beauty and philosophical depth. Each Veda has 4 parts, the last 3 of which sometimes blend into each other: the Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. The Rig Veda Samhita is a collection of 1028 hymns or suktas arranged in 10 books or mandalas. The Samaveda contains of 1810 verses, mostly borrowed from the Rig Veda, arranged according to the needs of musical notation. The original melodies are, however, lost. The Yajur Veda deals with the details of the performance of rituals. The Atarva Veda is the latest Veda and contains hymns, some from the Rig Veda, but also spells and charms which reflect aspects of popular beliefs and practices. The term Brahmana should not be confused with the Brahmana Varna or caste. The Brahmanas are prose explanations of the Samhita portions and give details and explanations of sacrificial rituals and their outcome. The Aranyakas or forest books interpret sacrificial rituals in a symbolic and philosophical way. There are 108 Upanishads, among which 13 are considered the principal ones. The Upanishads contain a great variety of philosophical ideas about sacrifice, the body and the universe, but are most closely associated with the concepts of Atman and Brahman. Within the Vedic corpus as a whole, books 2 to 7, known as the family books of the Rig Veda Samhita, are considered the oldest. The latter portions of this Samhita, among with all the other Vedic texts, comprise later Vedic literature. There are several recensions or shakhas of the Vedas associated with different schools or charanas of Vedic study and interpretation. The terms shakha and charana are often used interchangeably. The Shakala Shakha is the only surviving recension of the Rig Veda. The texts of the Yajur Veda are divided into those of the Shukla or white school and Krishna or black school. The recensions of the Shukla, also known as Vajasheniya Yajur Veda, are the Madhyandina and Kanva. The black school is represented by the Kathaka, Kafisthala, Maitrayani and Taittiriya recensions. The main difference between the texts of the two schools is that the Samhitas of the white school contain only the mantras or prayers and sacrificial formulae, while in the texts of the Black School, the mantras are accompanied by a commentary describing and discussing various aspects of the sacrificial rituals. The Kautuma, Ranayaniya and Jaiminiya or Talavakra are the recensions of the Samaveda and the Shaunaka and Vaipalada of the Atarva Veda. References in inscriptions mention other recensions of the Vedas that once existed but are now lost. Vedic texts comprise a religious literature and references to possible historical events are few. For example, Book 7 of the Rig Veda Samhita refers to a battle of 10 kings in which Sudas defeated a number of adversaries who had confederated against him. Historians have tried to reconstruct various aspects of the culture represented in the Vedas, but it is not easy to interpret this vast and complex literature. A number of supplementary texts known as Vedanga, literally glimpse of a Veda, aimed at helping the proper recitation, use and understanding of the Vedas. These include works on phonetics or shiksha, metre or chanda, grammar or vyakarana, etymology or nirukta, ritual or kalpa, and astronomy or jyotisha. The broad period of composition of Vedanga literature is circa 600 to 200 BCE. Yaska's Nirukta, a work on the etymology of words of the Rig Veda, belongs to the 6th century BCE. A major problem in using the Vedas as a source of history is the problem of dating the Rig Veda. The dates that have been suggested for the composition of this text range from circa 6000 BCE to 1000 BCE. Many historians take circa 1500 to 1000 BCE as the period of composition of the early Vedic literature, and circa 1000 to 500 BCE as that of the later Vedic texts. This chronology is essentially based on the tentative dates suggested by Max Muller in the 19th century. Vedic literature forms an important part of the Brahmanical tradition. Texts preserved and transmitted by a section of Brahmana males. It reflects their religious beliefs, practices, and points of view. As a source of history, their texts are used for information about life in parts of northwestern and northern India during the 2nd and the 1st millennium BCE. But apart from the question of dates, there are several problems and controversies in correlating the evidence from the Vedas with archaeology. This is the end of today's discussion. Subscribe our YouTube channel, listen our podcast and like and comment. Follow our official Facebook page, Twitter handle and Instagram. For any query, feel free to mail us. For details, see the description.